So you have decided to study dentistry and one day you will open a clinic. Suppose one day a cute patient walks in, you check her teeth and you decide she needs braces. So you would like to take an impression of her teeth. You mix the impression compound, load it in a tray and stick it in her mouth. After a few minutes you try to yank it out. Damn, you realize it's stuck. So you apologize and say that you'll be back in a few minutes, but you know you won't. You go home, you burn your certificate, you call up your friend whose brother smuggles cows to Bangladesh, and you ask him if he can smuggle you in. If you are not looking for extended vacations to Bangladesh, dental materials is very important for you. Now that you know why you have to study about dental materials, you might ask the question, what are dental materials? Dental materials are a wide variety of materials that have been used in dental restorations through the ages. Now, they are not a single category of substances or products that are used. They might be a combination of substances like metals and compounds that have been used. Regardless of their composition, they are very important in clinical practice, and knowing about them is very important. Well, now you know why. And if you were to use a material or a combination of materials in your clinic, you would have to know what properties to look for in them so that you could call it a biomaterial or a dental material. Something that you would use as a dental material would have to be biocompatible because it should not evoke any adverse reaction in biological tissues. It would also have to be mechanically stable and durable because if you are to leave it in the mouth, there are a lot of masticatory forces that the mouth generates. The tongue is a powerful muscle and the jaws have powerful muscles in them, so they need to be stable and durable. They must be resistant to corrosion because saliva contains a lot of ions, anions, and a lot of substances in the mouth can corrode a lot of other substances. It needs to be dimensionally stable because the environment in the mouth, the oral environment, undergoes a lot of temperature changes, and you do not want the material to expand or contract very fast based on small temperature changes. And it has to be minimally conductive, or as later we can go through one of the things called galvanic shocks phenomena like that. To minimize such phenomena, they need to be minimally conductive. It must be aesthetically pleasing because after all, if you are going to keep it in your mouth for several hours at a time, it must look good. It must be easy to manipulate so that it is easy to work with in your clinic. It must be tasteless and odorless so that you don't freak your patient out, and it must be adherent to tissues if it is a denture to provide maximum retention. It must also be repairable and cost effective because you don't want your patient to burn a hole in their pocket, or you do not want to spend too much and go bankrupt trying to run a clinic. Now, if you were to classify dental materials, there is a general classification based on what materials they are and the substances they are composed of. They are mainly metals, ceramics, polymers, and composites. So, metals have been used for centuries to repair teeth. The others are relatively new. There is also another system of classification which would depend on its use in the clinic. Based on that, we can classify them as preventive, restorative, auxiliary materials, prosthetic materials, appliance materials, biomaterials, and therapeutic agents. They have different functions and they come into use at different stages in your clinical practice. There are different bodies that standardize dental materials and other materials, but mainly when talking about dental materials, there is the FDI, the ADA and the ISO. The FDI, things that are approved by the FDI are also usually WHO approved, so they're one of the main bodies that approve things. They are the yes people. So if you were to patent a dental material, you would have to get a thumbs up from the ISO or one of these organizations to actually be able to market these, because if I was a dentist and your product was not ISO certified, I would not use it, because what guarantees do I have that it will not kill my patient or, just swallow me whole? Now, coming to the actual properties of dental materials, they can be classified under different heads such as chemical properties, mechanical, optical, thermal, and there are some other properties that are important in manufacturing. Now, the chemical properties include corrosion, hygroscopy. The mechanical properties include brittleness, compressive strength, and a lot of properties. The optical properties, the thermal, and the physical properties. There are just a whole lot of properties that you need to know about to know how a dental material would function in a clinic. But we cannot cover all of those properties in detail in just a single video, so I will dedicate separate videos to these properties so that you will very easily understand how a product would behave when used in a clinic. I'll just put it in a future video, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and please just study about dental materials.